So I subscribe to the SP-404 subreddit on Reddit, and at least once a week I come across a question that goes a little something like this.
Can someone please show me a video on how to use this thing, please? I'm lost AF. Please, somebody help, please.
So today I've decided to make the leanest, meanest, quickest, fastest video on how to just dive right in and get started on the SP-404 Mark II. If you're a musician and you just bought this thing and you want to just dive right in on recording samples and building patterns, this is the video for you. I'm going to cover as snappily as possible recording samples, building patterns, resampling, skip back recording, and pattern chaining. Without further ado, let's get started. No intro. So if you just bought your SP-404 Mark II, you are going to be loaded into the first project, which is just... But to get started, you're going to want to make a new project. So just hit Shift, press Subpad for project. As you can see, I have a bunch of projects that are already used. You can just select any blank project and create a new project. First things first, let me just record a sample. I have with me here my Roland S1, but you can sub this in for any instrument, bass guitar, guitar, keyboard, maracas, you name it. Let me just record a quick bass line. Do that by pressing record. Setting the BPM, I'm going to set it to 123 for house BPM. Select the pad. Now before I get started, I'm going to change the metronome setting. I'm going to hit Shift and press 10. And as you can see, that toggles through the count in settings. I'm going to have it count in one measure. Select the pad. Hit record. Then I hit record to stop the recording. Pro tip, instead of just doing a bunch of different takes where you mess up and starting over and restarting the recording process over and over again, you can just do a bunch of takes on one and then pick the take that's the best and do it from there. So I have a bunch of takes here. I'm going to just pick the best one right now by hitting start and end, bringing the start point to the best take. If I hit resample, it'll turn on zero cross snapping, so it'll snap right when it goes to the crossover point so that I can have a nice clean chop for that. Now let me set my endpoint right at the end of that bass part so that it can loop nicely if I want it to loop. If I hit roll, I can hear towards the end of the sample. All right, that's a good endpoint. Now you can just get rid of all those bad takes by hitting enter, selecting truncate, and now I just have the good take. It's a nice little dub techno bass line going there. I hit gate because I just want it to trigger like this. All right, we got a bass line. Let's record something else. I'm going to select like a mid-range kind of sound now. I can just record something like that. I think that sounds good. Now I'm going to record on pad 2. Now let me just do my start and end points again. Cool. Now let's try to hear both at the same time. And since I recorded them to a click, they're on tempo, they sync nicely. Let's get one more thing in there as like a little lead. I think that works. So we got these 3 samples here. Let's make some patterns. I'm going to hit pattern select to bring up my patterns. As you can see, we have none here, so let's record one. Okay, I've got my one pattern there. Let's layer it up. Let's just copy this pattern. Copy, one, select the empty pad, easy. Now let's record over it by just playing it. I'm gonna hit record and then I'll play the pad over it. Awesome. I have that cool little pattern. Let's make one more. I'll copy that. Easy. And now let's layer it up again. Cool. Now I've got these three patterns. Let's switch out our S1 for a drum machine and get some drum samples in there so we can really make something cool. So I've got my TR6S here with a cool drum kit loaded up with all these good samples. Now, instead of recording them one by one, which would take a lot of time, I'm going to use skip back recording, which is basically just recording whatever's going through your SP and giving you about 40 seconds that you can take from and record as a sample back into your SP. Check it out. 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 But instead of sampling my voice, I'm going to just hit each of these one at a time and then take those and then chop them into different pads really easily. Watch. Okay, now that I've got that string of each of those hits, let's chop it up. All right, I'm going to select the sample, hit Shift, and then Start and End. Hit Menu, I go to Auto Mark, use C2 to select Transient, and then C3 to select Mid, which will automatically make a marker for each hit. I hit Enter, hit OK, and now I've got 6 chops for each of those sounds. All I have to do is hit Menu, Assign to Pad, select 6 pads, hit Enter, and boom. So let's lay down a drum pattern. Okay, let me add a kick. All right, I've got that kick pattern. Now what I'm going to do is add a hi-hat pattern, and I'm going to resample that so that that can be a sample in itself. Awesome. So now I'm going to resample that. Let's give it like a flanger. So to resample that, I'm going to hit Resample. Gonna make that start point snap right on that first hit. When you resample with a pattern, there's always like a little delay. All right, let's resample that kick. And now let's add that to our patterns. Now let me add my hi-hat. All right, now that I've got this pattern chain, I'm going to play it and jam around with the snare and the tom and the clap.